Hello, everybody. Today we are here for our Nexus live show. Nexus by Sasha, Alsberg, and Lindsay Cummings, the sequel to Zenith and the final book in the duology. I'm here with my co-host Kathleen from For the Love of Books, and we're ready to discuss this book. So, as usual, we are going to start the live show with initial thoughts, non-spoilered, and our rating. And then after we both said our initial thoughts, then we will go into spoiler talk of this book. So would you like to go ahead and get started, Kat?
Sure. Okay. So I just finished this book maybe an hour ago. The thing is, when Zenith came out last year and I read it, it was filled with negative reviews. Like the first reviews that came out were people just going at this book really negatively. And when I went into reading Zenith, I had really low expectations. However, I ended up really enjoying the book. I thought it was fun. No, it's not the most original idea. And yes, the main character is a very carbon copy of Selena Sardossian from the Throne of Glass series. I believe they are very similar. So I agree with some of the criticisms in regards to the first book, Zenith, but I just ended up enjoying it. I thought it was fun. It was really fast-paced and action-packed. So I was kind of hoping to enjoy this book just as much because, I mean, like, again, I really enjoyed the first book. However, I did find this book not to be as fun. I thought it dragged a little. I ended up giving Nexus 3 stars. I had given Zenith 4 stars. I just didn't quite enjoy this book as much, and towards the end, I was listening to the audiobook for the most part. Towards the end, I just kind of like zoned out a lot of times, and the ending kind of picks up a little. It was kind of, I liked the way things ended, but I don't know. I just didn't enjoy this book as much as the first one. I feel like there are still many things that I liked. Like I liked the friendship in this book. I don't care for the love interest. I didn't care about him in the first book. I didn't care about him in this book. And part that why I may not have enjoyed this book as much as the first book is because I don't know, this time around I felt like the narrators were really annoying, like the way they portrayed some of the characters, and I was just like, I didn't like the narrators for this audiobook. So that might have to do with why I rated lower than the first book, but it was a 3-star rating. It was fine. It ended nicely, but it's not like the best sequel I've ever read in my life.
I'm still trying to tweet out the link. So I gave this book 3.5 stars. And based on my own personal rating system, a 3 is neutral. The book was just okay, and a 4 is good, but not like it has like small flaws. So I really wanted this book to be like a good read for me, a great read. And when I started reading it, the beginning was kind of, I don't want to say boring, but just not as fun as I remember the first book being. And I think that's one of the things that made me just not as excited to read this book. And then as I kept reading the book, it started to pick up, and there were more fun scenes. It was faster. The thing I didn't like was I didn't want to be in Nora's perspective or Valen's perspective. I wanted to be with Andy and Dex trying to see how the problem is solved. But I understand why we also have the other two perspectives, because we get a behind the scenes look at the issue. And like, without spoilers, we get more of a look at what the real issue is, which made those chapters work. Overall, the 3.5, it wasn't quite a like really good read for me, which would have been the 4-star. But it wasn't just an okay read either. It was somewhere in the middle of there, which is why I gave it a 3.5 star. But yeah, I overall enjoyed the duology. I think it ended differently than I anticipated it ending. But looking at it as a whole, it worked out for this. Yeah. So now we're going to go into spoilers. So if you have not read the book and you don't want to be spoiled, then now's the time to click away. If you don't care about spoilers or you've already read the book, then let's go ahead and discuss spoilers. I'm still trying to tweet out the link. So what should we start with first?
I think something that you said that you like Andy and Dex's point of view more than Nora. I actually think the opposite. I enjoyed Nora's and Balin's more. Just because well, first off, I didn't care about Dex at all. So I could have done without reading any of his chapters because I think he's annoying. And he's okay, but I found Balin and Nora's chapters to be just a little bit more interesting. But that was it. I didn't think Lyra's perspective was needed. Like she had 3 chapters, and I was like, what is the point of her?
Yeah, so, I didn't think that was needed either.
Yeah.
I do think that Dex really had he really kind of, I guess for lack of a better term, grew up between the first book and the second book, because I remember in the second book him and Andy were not necessarily enemies, but they weren't on the same side, if that makes sense. And he really changed with the events of the end of Zenith and everything that happened in Nexus, which I thought was really nice. Although this might be because of the time I was reading it. When they admitted that they loved each other, it was really late when I was reading it, so I was like partially falling asleep. But I feel like that happened suddenly. But also, it could have been because I was like partially falling asleep while reading this. But yeah, I feel like that was sudden. All right, I got the link tweeted out. If you guys have any questions, anybody who's watching, if you have any questions, you can tweet us at Once Read Along, or you can leave them in the chat. Actually, I'm not even looking at the chat. Hold on.
Yeah, I agree.
It says we have one viewer, and I'm pretty sure it's one of us.
It's not.
Oh, then it's me. I don't know. This is like one of the, like, I don't want to say rare sci-fis, but one of the rare sci-fi fantasy books that I enjoy, because I don't pick them up often.
Yeah. So wait, why didn't you like this book more than the first one?
I feel like this one was it was more slow in the beginning. That's the only way I can describe it as. Sorry, I'm like really uncomfortable. That's the only way I can describe it is it was slower in the beginning, and I wasn't as excited to pick it up. And it might have been because it had been a year since I read the first one, but in the end that didn't really, change my enjoyment of it. Also, because at the same time, I remember I was telling you about this, I was reading The Hating Game at the same time, and I was loving that book, and I really wanted to just read that and finish it instead of read Nexus.
Okay.
But like, I don't know, there were some days, because I gave myself like a certain number of pages to read each day, and there were some days where I was like, all right, this is great, let's just keep going, like past like the pages I was reading.
Yeah, I just found the first book to be a little more fun.
Mm-hmm.
I just enjoyed the world building more in the first book. I'm not sure.
You broke up.
I feel like because the whole.
Oh, you broke up just a little bit. Can you say that last part again?
I just found the first book to be more fun. Like the creative.
Oh no, what happened? Okay, I don't know if on the live show you can still hear. But we are having.
You froze and you unfroze.
Oh. You keep disappearing. But I can't hear you. Like I can barely hear you if you're saying anything. Well, if anybody's watching, we're having technical difficulties.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's kind of like it's broken a little bit. You're completely frozen for me. Can you hear me?
Okay, I'll come back.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, so we're having technical difficulties. Kat is going to come back into the live show. I don't really know what to say right now. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I was saying that I like the friendship in the first book, and in this book we have a lot of like, because they're separated, we don't get to see that friendship a lot. So I think that's maybe why I didn't enjoy this book as much, because I really, really like the friendship dynamic in the first book.
I agree. Hold on a second. There we go. But yeah, I agree. We didn't see a lot of that friendship aspect or the adventure aspect. So I think that was part of what made the first book so fun. And we didn't have that this time around.
Yeah.
Granted, like we had the adventure in a different kind of way without the friends we had with Dex, but still.
Yeah, I enjoyed.
What did you think about the whole when they got to the planet where Arachnid was and that dragon showed up? Like, so we had these characters that we just met and then they died right away.
I still don't get that part.
Yeah, I feel like that probably wasn't really a necessary scene. Because I understand that it helped with Lon's character arc, but it like I feel like it made the whole situation too easy where it's like, okay, they have transportation because all these people just died. And it's like I think those characters weren't even necessary because we had them for 3 pages and then they were dead. Oh, I can't even remember. I think her name was like Clarissa or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't even think those were necessary characters.
Yeah, I honestly think this book was rushed, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Sasha was advertising the first book, like on all her videos, she would give us a little snippet of like what she's working on with Zenith. And I feel like I didn't hear as much about in regards to this book. To be honest, I heard a lot about her solo project
Yes.
Red, whatever she calls. So I to be honest, I feel like they rushed out this book just to get it over with so that Sasha can work on her own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like when you told me that this book was barely at 400 pages, I was surprised. I was expecting this book to be massive just because
Me too.
The series is only a duology and it is sci-fi. And usually sci-fi books, the last book is always so ginormous because they really wrap up everything nicely. And I just didn't get that with this book. I felt like it just didn't have that extra, something that it really needed to shine.
Yeah, and especially because I feel like or no, I don't feel hold on. What am I trying to say? On Goodreads, when you first add it on, one of the editions, which was originally the edition that you're automatically put on, says it's like 500 pages.
I saw that. And I was like, I was surprised.
So I'm like, what edition is at 500 pages? Or like maybe that was like what it originally was or something. I don't really know how to what to think about that. But yeah, like 394 pages was like nothing for this.
Yeah.
Granted, it made it faster to read, but that was like nothing. And like I feel like I'm still interested in whatever Sasha is working on for her solo project. I still really adore Lindsay Cummings' work. I love the Murder Complex duology. So I'm still interested in whatever they're putting out, because I believe they're both putting out solo projects.
Did this book even hit the New York Times bestsellers list?
I don't think so.
I know Zenith did, but I don't know if
Zenith did. I don't know. I feel like I would have heard about it because I know Again But Better was on the list recently. So I'm not sure. I don't think it did though.
Weren't these books like released almost at the same time as Again But Better?
Same day. Nexus was. Yeah. It was the same day.
I mean, I granted they're different genres, but because they're both bigger YouTubers, it's kind of like competing against each other.
Yeah, but I feel like it's like a friendly competing, because both congratulated the other, and at the same time, I feel like Zenith didn't get the reception that people expected it to get, which is why maybe this one wasn't really perceived well. And if you go on to Goodreads and look at Zenith, a lot of the ratings like are from people that haven't even read it. They're rating it 1 star, saying like, this is like trash and whatever. People who haven't even read it like before it was released.
I know. I saw a bunch of that. Yeah.
Yeah. What do we know what the average rating is on Goodreads? I feel like it's
Nexus?
yeah, it's gonna be really crappy with all of the people who haven't read it.
Right now it's at 3.35.
3.35. I feel like it would be different. So like, just because I rated it a half star.
Zenith is at 3.13.
Oof, yeah. I feel like if Goodreads counted half stars, then it would be more of an actual realistic number, because like I gave this a 3.5, stuff like that. Yeah. I think I gave Zenith a 4. I don't really know what to talk about with this book. Just like,
hold on. I'm trying to see what your rating for Zenith was.
Pretty sure it was a 4. Because I think I looked at it when I started Zenith, or when I started Nexus.
Yeah, you gave it a 4.
Yeah, which is again surprising for me, because I don't really read a lot of sci-fi, fantasy, all of that.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very, very like beginner sci-fi book in space.
Mm-hmm.
Like compared to like the giants of like Illuminate Files, where it's very sci-fi. This is very, very, very low key.
Yeah, give me what's going on. Sorry, I'm not at home, so I don't know what he's doing.
You're fine.
He's cleaning stuff, so I don't know. I think he's just trying to throw stuff away.
Yeah, I didn't have many thoughts on this book. I thought it was very average. It didn't sparkle anything with me. I felt like it didn't bring the same enjoyment that the first book brought.
Yeah, I remember I texted you something around like when I was reading. I remember it was like chapter 16, something huge happened that I texted you, and I was like, oh shit, watch out for
chapter 16.
Yeah, it's like, oh, watch out for chapter 16. I'm trying to find it now. I'm like, I think it might have been Lon dying, but I can't remember. Oh no, it's a Valen chapter, so let's see. Oh, it was when the she was responding to Arachnid, and then gunfire went off, so Zahn died. That's what happened.
Oh yeah. Okay, here's my thing. Now that we talked about Zahn, I don't get why she blamed Valen for him dying. He didn't shoot Vaughn. He didn't kill him. He just did it. He saved her, but he didn't mean to kill him. That's not how it works. Like, he didn't pull the trigger. And I was just like, she was so angry at him, and I was like, what is wrong with you? You're blaming someone for something that someone else did. And I didn't understand. Like, I understand her anger because her true love died or whatever. But I was so upset for her because Valen adores her. Like, they have this beautiful sibling relationship. And I was just like, what is wrong with you? He saved your life. It's not like he pulled the trigger and killed your lover. What is wrong with you? You're placing your anger on someone else that doesn't deserve it. that whole part is the only thing that I feel really strongly about, because I feel like her anger was so misplaced and I don't understand. And he kept asking her for forgiveness, and I was like, you have nothing to feel sorry to say sorry about, because you didn't do it out of maliciously. It was a you tried to save her. It's not like you pulled the trigger to kill the guy, you know? I was so angry, and then she only forgave him when he was like giving up his life for the machine thing, whatever. And I
Yeah,
was just, what is
we
wrong?
found out like him pushing the gunman was only because he was compelled to do so by Darai.
Yeah, and I was just like, she's so dumb. I can't even deal.
One thing I would like to do is, because I have the I think I might still have the original ebook of Zenith that was released like a year before the full length book. I think I would want to go back and read that and like compare it to what.
Isn't it only like 50 pages or something?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. It was supposed to be like a sneak peek or whatever. But I would want to go back and read that, just now that I've read the 2 books in the series, like see what that's all about. Because I've read that before, but it was so long ago that I can't even remember. But I'd have to go back and find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like we don't have a lot of stuff to talk about with this book, just because it's like it was so rushed.
Yeah, I didn't, like I said, with the exception of the whole her getting mad at her brother for over nothing. I didn't really have any strong feelings in this book. It was okay. It ended nicely. You know, it had a conclusion. It's not like we were left in the dust or something. But so I enjoyed the series. It didn't quite live up to the first book. So if you're someone who did not like the first book, you are not gonna
don't read the second book
for sure.
Yeah. And like the very last chapter, I don't know. I wish we'd had a little bit more like of thought out of like the wrap up. Because let's see what happens. Like we don't see her like giving the power of the general over.
Or the epilogue, whatever.
Oh wait, I forgot there is an epilogue. I was looking at chapter 42. Like I wish we had seen her giving the power over to Soina and like Claire and Honor being exiled. Like I don't know. I wish we had seen that stuff instead of it just being like, okay, we fix this, then months later.
Yeah.
It was like a little more like thought out.
That's why I feel like this book was just a little bit rushed.
Mm-hmm. And I know when it was written, like for most of the time it was written, Lindsay was pregnant, and then they finished it. It was finished after she had the baby, so maybe like that could have been part of it, like outside things playing in with it. But we may never know. I don't know. I will still read both of their solo projects.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Have you read The Murder Complex by chance?
No, I know you want me to, because apparently you love it.
It is so good. It's a dystopian, and I feel like dystopian's like played out now. Well, dystopian definitely is played out now, but it's still really good. And it's a duology, and it's really, really good. I haven't read it in a couple of years though.
So you want to kind of thoughts then?
Yeah, I suppose. So I gave this book 3.5 stars. It wasn't just okay, but it wasn't like great. So it's like right in the middle with that. I wish it was slightly longer just to help play things out a little bit more. There was a scene that was unnecessary with the dragon, so I don't know. I enjoyed the duology as a whole. But yeah, this one was it was rushed. Like a lot of it was rushed.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I gave this book 3 stars. I enjoyed the first book, Zenith, but I feel like this book just didn't quite live up to the first book. And it's like we've been talking about. I feel like it was rushed. I feel like I don't know what the situation was, but I just felt like with the first book, I felt like Sasha was updating us more on their progress with Zenith, and I feel like I didn't see that as much with this book. I was hearing a lot about her solo project, but not necessarily about Nexus. And I don't know. I just like this book was just okay. It was an okay ending. And as I said, if you really despise the first book, I wouldn't even bother with this book because it wasn't that great compared to the first book. So
I'm trying to have since our June book is not released yet, I'm trying to pull the cover up on my phone. All right. So in June, we are going to be reading, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, the rest of the story by Sarah Dessen. Yeah, you totally cannot see that like at all. So I've started it like my e-arc, and I've read the prologue so far, and that's it. So I have like no opinions yet. And I'm kind of going in blind with this one. So we are reading the rest of the story by Sarah Dessen. It comes out on June 4th, so next Tuesday. And our live show is going to be on Sunday, June 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel. So yeah, that's what we're reading. And both of us, if anybody is going to be at BookCon, both of us are going to be at BookCon this coming Saturday and Sunday, June 1st and 2nd. Sarah Dessen's going to be at BookCon. I think they are selling this book there, so I'm assuming you're going to get it.
yeah,
and you're going to get it early too.
that's so good.
So yes, we will both be at BookCon attending. And we're going to be in New York for I think 5 days total, 4 days total. So if you see us at BookCon, please come. Blah, blah, blah. Why can't I talk? Please come say hi. I've been like saying that so much on my channel because I'm just so excited. So yeah, that is all we have for this live show. Hopefully we'll see you guys at BookCon. And if not, we will see you back here on June 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to discuss the rest of the story by Sarah Dessen.
Yay!
Yay! All right. Bye, guys.